Welcome to our second segment, the cover letter, or do I really have to write this thing? By the way, the answer to that question is yes. As you recall, in our first segment, we were all about knowing yourself and evaluating your abilities, transferable skills, and your marketing readiness. We also took a look at the skills that employers seek in ideal candidates. These assessments will be useful in working in the next two segments, cover letters and resumes. Now that you've looked at some of your skill sets, we're ready to move into a typical job search correspondence, the cover letter and the resume. Honestly, now that we have help writing cover letters in the form of templates, anyone can write these, right? But how many can do an outstanding job? I've seen some really mediocre cover letters and resumes, but outstanding ones, not so much. You want the best chance to showcase who you are, but using a common cover letter or resume template probably won't get you there. You need to be outstanding, not average, in your job search correspondence. So let's take a look at what you need to do so that you give nothing to an employer that's mediocre. Remember, mediocre doesn't get noticed, and it sure won't get you the interview when you're competing with literally thousands of other candidates. So in Olympic Games talk, let's go for the gold. In this segment of our course, you'll get a sense of when a cover letter is appropriate and when it isn't. You'll also learn the characteristics of a cover letter, and you'll understand and apply what it takes to write a correct and compelling cover letter. According to a vice president of a Washington, D.C. public relations and communications firm, cover letters provide context to an application. They help to display the applicant's skills specific to a particular job opening. A further definition of the cover letter comes from a Chicago corporate communications expert who said, and I quote, "The cover letter is an opportunity to tailor your pitch to the employer by calling out specific experiences that they're seeking." What's interesting is that I recently read in a career blog that an estimated 50% of recruiters never read cover letters. If that's true, it's huge. The blogger's contention was that if a recruiter opens a cover letter and it repeats what's already in the resume, the recruiter won't bother reading it. I agree that cover letters need to be fresh and appealing. I also agree that each letter needs to be tailored to the open position and should be written with originality. But first, before we get into the contents of the letter, let's talk about the necessity of cover letters today. Considering that many resumes are sent electronically, is there really a need for cover letters at all? The answer is yes, for the most part. Some experts feel that cover letters should be sent, 1, when they are requested, and 2, if the candidate has specific knowledge about the opening and its requirements. Cover letters should not be used when they aren't asked for, in the advertisement or in the job reference, or if they are generalized pieces that say very little about the candidate or the opening. Recruiters and career service personnel agree that they want to see well-written cover letters that focus on specific skills required for these open positions. The cover letter makes a first impression and sets the tone for what follows, your resume. Take a look at this sample cover letter. What do you notice? Right, you notice the misspelling and lack of focus. This job seeker certainly doesn't seem very interested in the position. He used tired phrases and some repeated information from the resume itself. Not very appealing. So what are the characteristics of successful cover letters? A good cover letter makes a good first impression. No misspellings, no typos. It's original and specific to each opening. It's direct, and it doesn't repeat information from the resume. And it provides the answer to the question, why should I hire you for this position? Okay, so now that we're aware of what the cover letter should accomplish, how should it be written? Even though some cover letters today are sent electronically, they still generally take the form of a formal business letter. First, notice the business letter structure. By the way, never address the letter to whom it may concern, or dear sir or madam. How impersonal and overused. Find the name of the recipient, and if you can't do that, at least use a title such as Human Resource Manager. This isn't a specific name, but it beats dear sir or to whom it may concern. After the greeting or salutation, there are 3 basic paragraphs to the letter. The introductory paragraph is where you indicate what position you're applying for, as well as how you learned about the opening. You may want to start this paragraph in a more personal and attention-getting way by saying something about your attraction to the company, its products or services, or the field in general. Either way, you're letting the reader know who you are and what you want. Next, mention the exact title of the position you're applying for and how you learned of the opening. Here's a tip. Never start your letter with, "My name is." They can see that at the bottom of the letter, and it's not a very dynamic way to start your message. The second paragraph is very important because it's where you sell yourself and your skills. Some candidates use the language of the job description itself, demonstrating that they have just the right skill set and experience. No matter how you choose to word the second paragraph, this is your best place to brag about yourself. If you're a new college grad, stress your degree and how it qualifies you for the open position. Discuss what you learned in school and mention any internship experience you may have that could further qualify you. For more experienced candidates, talk achievements and talents. Mention possible projects that you have managed or worked on, leadership roles that you've had, etc. Whether a new college grad or an experienced professional, make sure your discussion in the second paragraph is as specific to the opening as possible. This is key. Now let's move to the third and final paragraph. In this paragraph, you're putting it all out there. You state your desire for an interview, provide your contact information, and re-emphasize anything about yourself that would be most impressive to the recruiter. At this point, you want to arrange for an interview. After all, isn't that the purpose of the letter and the resume? Some may think this is too bold. It's not. You're a salesperson trying to arrange a meeting to promote a product. You should be active in this pursuit. So exactly how should we end this letter to try to move to the next step of the process? You have an important choice here regarding the last sentence of the letter. Will you end it passively, saying something like, "I appreciate your time to review my resume," or "I look forward to hearing from you soon"? Or will you take some control of the situation and end your letter actively, saying something like, "I will contact you next week to arrange a convenient time to discuss my qualifications"? It's funny. When I tell my students they should end their cover letters actively like that, I see their faces saying, "No, not me." Some are not liking the perceived boldness here. Some don't think they would ever make the call. Fair enough. If you're not willing to make the call, go ahead and end the letter passively. But my students and you need to put yourself out there for the job that you want. Remember, you'll have lots of competition. So after you send your cover letter and your resume, get on that cell phone and call that recruiter. In summary, this segment has helped you to determine when to send a cover letter, the characteristics of good cover letters, and how to write a cover letter that has impact. Remember, cover letters are necessary parts of the job search process. They create your first impression, and they demonstrate why you should be interviewed and hired. Of course, cover letters are only a part of your job search. In the next tutorial, we will cover the all-important resume, one of the most important documents that you'll ever write. So stay tuned as we discuss resume styles and types, help you with the challenges of writing a good resume, and provide you with some feedback on the resume draft that you have created.